gear out right here next to the tent, and I'm just going to pack it up real quick and kind of go over what I'm carrying. Now, it kind of looks like a lot of items right here when it's all laid out, but I like to put everything, or this trip, I've kind of experimented with putting everything in its own bag. So instead of just having loose items floating around all over the place, I've got a clothes bag, I've got a ditty bag, I've got a food bag, just kind of put everything in its own stack. That way, if I need some food, I just grab the food bag out and I'm good to go. So, the first thing that I'm going to do real quick for you guys is pack up my ditty bag. And my ditty bag just kind of has extra items in it that I may want to grab really quick on the trail. So I've got my headlamp in there. Then I'll put the spare batteries for my headlamp in there. And I put a spare lighter that has a heavy-duty needle duct tape to it. That's just for getting splinters, emergency compass. That's just a lightweight thing that I like to carry. Then the next thing that goes in there is 3 Mini Inferno fire starters. You get these from Self-Reliance Outfitters. And they're basically like a cotton disc that's been dipped in oil or kerosene and then been dipped in with hot wax. So they make a really waterproof. These things burn for like 5 minutes. I just carry 3 of those in a Ziploc bag. It's a great fire starter, and the plan is to not use those. These are strictly emergency things, or if I need to get a fire really quick. Then I've got about 20 feet of bank line. That's all the cordage I carry, because I found when you're backpacking, really the majority of your time is spent walking. You're not doing any bushcraft, stuff like that. So I like to carry, some knives, stuff to start fire, and emergency gear, and then everything else is just sleep system and food and stuff for walking. And really, that's all that you're actually going to use. Last night when we set up camp, I emptied my gear out to use for stuff, and my pack was empty other than emergency gear. And really, that's the way it should be. You should be using everything in your camp, and that's how you know that you're not packing anything that you don't need. So then I'll put my compass right here in my ditty bag, and that's pretty much all that goes in there. My duct tape I'll clip to the outside of my pack, and then all this stuff will go right in the top flap. There's very few items that go in the main bucket of the pack, but I like to start with that first because that will kind of help the pack stand up on its own while I put my last items in there. So I don't put my sleeping bag in a stuff sack because it's a lot easier to get out if it's not in the stuff sack, in my opinion. So the first thing that you do when you pack up a pack like this is you want to unbuckle every single compression strap on the pack. That way you can really fill this thing out. And this pack that I've got today is my new backpack. It's a Gregory Baltoro 65-liter pack, and it has a smaller day pack on the inside that I just leave in there. And that's just kind of an extra pack, or it can be used as a water bladder. So I'm just going to start stuffing my sleeping bag down in the bottom of this pack. Squeeze all the air out of it, and that way it just kind of fills up every little crack and crevice in there, and there's no wasted space. This pack has a sleeping bag access flap on the bottom, so that way when I get my sleeping pad and stuff in the tent, all I gotta do is unzip this and pull the bag out, and I'm good to go. So that bag comes up to about right there on the pack. So about a third of my pack is taken up with just the sleeping bag. So then, in my food bag, I've got my main meal. Snacks go in outer pockets. I'm just going to put my stove in here and my fork. Just going to clean that off a little bit. And that'll go in my food bag. This is a really great thing to do, put all your food in a bag, because that means that when I want to eat, all I got to do is grab the camo bag and I'm good to go. This is an awesome drawstring bag that my sister made for me for Christmas. It's great. So I'm just going to stand that up on the right side of the pack. Takes up very, very little space and works great. Then I've got my Wise Owl pillow. You can see how small that compresses. It's pretty good, and the comfort is worth it to me. That goes on the left side, and then there's enough space in between those two things to lay this down like that. So I'll lay that down in between the food and the pillow. Then I have my clothes bag. And in here just is extra clothes that I'm mainly going to be sleeping in. I've got this flannel shirt and a pair of hiking pants that I wear during the day. And under the flannel shirt, I've just got a polyester stretchy shirt. Then in here I've got sleeping socks, an extra pair of socks, and a thicker pair of polyester long johns that I sleep in. And I'll take those off during the day when I'm hiking because I'll probably get too hot. And this is just mainly sleeping clothes, extra socks, stuff like that. So that can go closer to the bottom of the pack because I'm going to grab that when I get in camp. So I still have about that much space between my pillow and the food bag that are standing up. I've only filled that up to about there. I've got that much before I get to the top of the pillow. And I'll just show you that really quick. Kind of what we're getting in here. There's my pillow, my food bag, and my clothes bag. The clothes bag is actually the stuff sack to my sleeping bag. And I've still got a few inches before I get to the top of the pillow. Alright, so what goes in next is my coat. And this is mainly for in camp and sleeping. Because during the day it's too warm, but at night it may get cold. This is a Columbia, like, fleece button-up jacket. And I just fold that up and put it in between the pillow and the food in there. Okay, so now I am right there with my gear. I've still got some room to the top of the pack, but we're going to fill it up pretty fast. You can see I still have a pretty good amount of items, but it's all going to pack down fairly lightweight and small. So next I'll put my fuel can, just kind of wrap it in this cotton bandana net thing, and put that in my titanium pot, and that will stand up in the top of the pack. Because I may need to get to that pretty quick to eat on the trail. So now what I like to do, that I've got my main stuff in the bucket of the pack, I like to sort out what's going in outside pockets and what's going to go in the main pocket. So my bandanas, my hat, my saw, my ditty bag, extra camera gear, notebook, duct tape, pretty much all this stuff is actually going outside of that main bucket. I'm going to put one of my water bottles, one of my smart water bottles, in the pack, and then the other one will go on the outside. So I'll just do that really quick. That fits in there really nice. I'm going to lay that pot on its side, and now I'll show you kind of what I've got. So you can see, I've got my pillow, I've got my food bag, I've got my coat, smart water bottle, my pot, my fuel, and my bandana. So this is ready to just cinch down and tie off. So I'm just going to pull the cinch strap closed, buckle that tight. Alright, moving on. Keeping this quick and simple, I'm going to put my raincoat in this main pocket right here on the front. This is a nice zipper pouch on the front, and it actually has a zipper here. You can open this up like a suitcase. You get at your gear super quick, just like that. And you can see all my stuff is packed in there. So the rain fly for my pack goes in this zipper pocket. I'll put that in there in a minute, but I've still got my gear laying out on that. So now we're good to go ahead and tighten all these compression straps. And this is going to make your load smaller, and it's also going to keep it from moving around as you go down the trail. This pack has 2 compression straps on each side and a 2 on the bottom. In this stretchy pocket right here on the side is where I like to put my Baco Laplander folding saw. That's a great thing to carry, especially in the winter time, because you can get quite a bit of firewood pretty quick with that saw. I put the compression strap through the leather lanyard on that. That way I'm sure it's never going to fall out. Now I'm just going to put a couple of granola bars in this stretchy pocket with the saw. Just one of them is all I'm going to be able to fit, but that's okay. Now I'm going to tighten these compression straps on this side. And there we go. That pack is packed up, and we're almost ready to hit the trail. Now I'm going to put stuff in this top flap. I really like the top flap on this pack. It's got a lot of room in it, and this is where really the majority of my gear goes. In this main bucket is this clothes and sleep system. In here is where I put all my stuff. So the first thing that's going to go in here is one side of this pack I kind of use as water and snacks. So I'm going to put the filter pump in there. I've got one more coffee shake. That's going to go there. Some Cliff bars. I got some medicine in a Ziploc bag. That's all the food stuff. So that gets closed. Then in this side, I put my ditty bag right there. I've got my hat. I've got a couple of bandanas that get stuffed in there. I've got my notebook. Then I'll put this extra camera gear in here. This is where I actually carry my camera in the waist belt pocket. And then my Gorilla tripod, I like to just clip on one of these compression straps. So my ferrocerium rod will go in here too. Then I just clip my roll of 1-inch duct tape on with a paracord bracelet, and there's several loops on here that you can lash stuff onto. So I'll just put that on right there. That's just, any quick repairs I may need to do. I've never actually used duct tape for anything really on the trail, but I like to have it with me because it doesn't weigh much and it's got a ton of uses. You could build a house out of duct tape if you needed to. Then my other bottle goes in this really, really cool holster for your water bottle right here. And you can actually grab this one-handed as you're walking down the trail if you need to. That's what I really, really like about this backpack. Probably one of my favorite things about this pack is that you don't have to get somebody else to get your water. You don't even have to take your pack off. You can just get your water. My camera goes in here. Then I've got an SOL emergency bivvy that I'll actually stuff in the main pocket of this pouch. This is really small. It's just a reflective sleeping bag basically. And this is just emergency gear. It's orange and it's reflective, so I can use it for signaling. I can use it if it gets colder than I expected. Never had to use it, but it's worth it to me to carry that extra gear. Get my top flap cinched down. And then that buckles right here. And this camera case will have my camera in it later, and it goes in this waterproof waist belt pocket. Then I have an empty waist belt pocket over here that I may put a granola bar in eventually. My camera charger, something like that. I've got my 2 trekking poles. Then my rain fly will go in this front zipper pocket right here with my rain jacket. And yesterday I had my extra pair of socks in here, but I just got 1 pair of socks for today, so I don't have an extra pair of socks in there. But it's a great packet. Packs down pretty small with all my gear in there. Then the last thing we can do is these compression straps on the bottom. I like to cinch those down. I really like compression straps on the bottom. They kind of help take some of the weight of my sleeping bag, I feel like, and they're just another way to make the gear a lot smaller and more compact. So this is a great pack. I'm really liking it so far. This backpack actually won Editor's Choice Backpack of the Year 2 or 3 times. This is the older model. There's a newer model of this backpack that has a stretchy pocket on the front, but I really, really like this zipper pocket. So to me, this pack is awesome. Now the one downfall to this backpack is the weight, because it weighs just over 5 pounds. The newer model is a lot lighter weight, but 5 pounds for a backpack is really, really heavy. The new one is like 4 pounds, somewhere around there. But, if you don't have that much gear, and your gear doesn't weigh that much, it's not too terrible. This pack system with food and water and fuel for the stove weighs 26 pounds, or somewhere around there. Most backpackers weigh their backpack with their food out, the fuel for their stove out, and their water weight out. So if you take that out, this pack probably weighs somewhere around 20 pounds, maybe just over. So that's a pretty lightweight gear load, especially when you take into account the fact the pack itself weighs 5 pounds. That means I've got about 15 pounds of just gear. That's not very much gear to be carrying, and that's, a really good weight for me. I can carry 26 pounds comfortably with this pack. This pack was designed to carry really heavy loads of like 50, 60 pounds. So to carry 20 pounds in this is really, really smooth. I'm just going to take my raincoat out, fold up the rain fly. That has its own zipper pocket in here. However, it's not going to fit because I packed up the pack first. So I'm just going to shove it there. Put my raincoat in. Zip that up. And we're ready to hit the trail. Guys, I want to thank you for watching this really quick video where we packed up my Gregory Baltoro backpack for another day of hiking. We got about 12 miles to cover today, so we're going to get started really soon.